2023 is a massive year for Elder Scrolls Online. The community was growing more and more concerned about the future of the game, with rumors even circling that the game literally could not support new classes. Even huge fans of the game began to ask themselves, was it true? Fortunately, it turns out no. Elder Scrolls Online has announced an amazing expansion ahead, and most importantly, unveiled its newest class being added to the game, the Arcanist. Lucky for me, ZeniMax Online Studios flew me out to get a first-hand look at the newest class being added to the Elder Scrolls Online. On top of that, they gave a presentation where they talked about what's to come. So in this video, I'll go over all of that, the class, the new zones, and everything they told me while I was there. Most importantly, I'll be giving you my honest impressions on the new class. Is it amazing? Is it lame? Let's talk about it. The class is unique. It feels very different from the rest of the classes in ESO, and this was an incredibly welcome change as players have been asking for more class identity for a long time. Well, the Arcanist might have more class identity than any other class in ESO. This is going to be a great alternative option for new and existing players, especially those who are looking for something a little different to what the rest of the classes have to offer. The Arcanist has a fantastic spammable called Rune Blades that not only looks great, but feels and sounds great as well. And that's something everyone is going to notice about the Arcanist. The team really did an amazing job with the visual and the sound design. It really feels a step above the rest of the classes, almost as though it's a culmination of everything they've learned to date. This spammable also generates crux charges that you can use to fire off other abilities to alter the way they behave, like amplifying their damage or their healing. You can easily see how many crux charges you have as they'll be floating around you as you generate them. This creates a small mini game within your character's rotation where you try to accumulate the cruxes and then fire them off using abilities to do massive damage. One ability that you can use the cruxes on is your Fate Carver. This is a laser beam that you can channel through all of the enemies in front of you, absolutely melting them. And this is a good long channel. You are able to fire this beam off in DBZ fashion for up to 4 seconds at a time. More often than not, when the beam wears out, all of the enemies in front of you will be dead. This energy beam that you fire off also paired perfectly with another skill that sucked enemies into their desired location, grouping them up so that you could knock them down with the beam. It reminded me a lot of my Archon build in Diablo 3, using Black Hole to suck enemies in before melting them with the Archon's beam. And by the way, this feels amazing in both Diablo 3 and now in Elder Scrolls Online. If anything dared to survive all of this, the Arcanist has yet another trick up its sleeve. It has an ability called Abyssal Impact. This shoots tentacles out of your arm, doing massive damage to all enemies in a massive line in front of you. This ability is also your execute ability, which means it does more damage the lower the enemy's health, which makes it perfect for finishing off the enemies that manage to survive your initial onslaught of damage. All of the Arcanist abilities really flow together well, and it really feels like the Arcanist is going to have great class identity. It feels like you're actually going to be able to assemble the Arcanist build by using predominantly Arcanist abilities, if that's something you're interested in doing. I know I am. On top of this, the Arcanist has an ability called Apocryphal Gate. This ability will give the Arcanist a teleport that they can also share with their friends. It's going to be fascinating to watch as the community finds ways to break the game using this ability, but it's also going to be a ton of fun to use. My personal testing of the ability felt amazing. It was smoother and more intuitive than I would have expected, making this a great addition to the game. Every class needs a great heal, and a lot of times you'll see classes having to leave their own skill lines to find one. The Arcanist has an ability called the Rune Mend. You can use this ability to heal yourself or others, and it looks and feels amazing. The Arcanist has 3 skill lines: a tank skill line, a healer skill line, and a DPS skill line, so it's going to be very easy to find the skills you're looking for depending on which role you're trying to fill. For the DPS skill line, it has an ultimate known as the Unblinking Eye. You summon an eye that lets loose massive damage on your target without batting an eye. Get it? The healing ultimate is Vitalizing Glyphic. The ultimate summons an epic looking cube that pulses heals out to everyone around it. The Arcanist can interact with it to increase its potency as well. Finally, the tanking line gets an ultimate, the Gibbering Shield, which acts much like you would expect the shield to act, with a couple of surprises added for flavor. While the new class is absolutely stunning to both look at and to listen to, it's not the only great addition to the game with Necrom. We've also got new zones and all of their trappings. We'll be visiting both the Telvanni Peninsula and the Apocryphal zones of Hermaeus Mora. As you might have guessed, there will be a new trial, and it's called Sanity's Edge. You'll have to literally go into the mind of an ally and try to save them and their sanity. I mean, just look at some of these monsters you'll be able to fight. These things are pulled straight out of a horror film, and I freaking love it. This new zone and its enemies seem to be pulled straight from someone's dreams or nightmares. You decide. On top of that, Necrom will include 30 hours of fully voice-acted questing involving what looks to be an epic story of mystery and chaos chaos. We'll also see the addition of 2 new companions, one of which will be the Arcanist and the other will be a Warden. The Redguard Arcanist will be a bit crazy, perhaps a bit affected by his pursuit of knowledge in these strange lands, while the Argonian Warden will remind you a lot of Jason Bourne in Jason Bourne's movies. He's a lethal machine that woke up one day not remembering who he was or how he got there. Both of these characters' quests and stories are going to be fascinating to unravel. You'll also hear some fantastic new music along your adventures through Necrom, so be sure to keep your ears perked up and that music volume turned on. Of course, you can expect some quality of life additions, some bug fixes, and some performance improvements. Necrom isn't the only major change being made to ESO this year. ESO will also be adding a group finder for trials, arenas, and more so that would-be LFG players can escape the dry Craglorn zone chat. This is going to be amazing for people looking to put together groups to hunt for specific achievements or titles, as well as simply putting together gear farm groups for trials and arenas. A massive win for the group PvE community. The group finder is expected to be added sometime in the 3rd quarter. In the 4th quarter, ZOS will also be adding an endless dungeon that you can run with a buddy. This is how they described it. So it sounds like it will be a 2-person endless dungeon. Now, what does endless mean? How endless will it be? What will the rewards be? We don't know yet, but the dungeon team from ESO is one of the best dungeon teams in any MMO, so I'm expecting something truly amazing here. As mentioned, this should arrive sometime in the 4th quarter, and we should find out more about it probably sometime in the 3rd. Hopefully sooner. Now let's go over the trailer for the new class. As always with ESO trailers, this one was top notch. It shows an Arcanist saving an old man using its fake carver ability to delete enemies around it before healing the old man. Then the camera pans up to reveal the city of Necrom before changing locations to a town of cultists up to something sinister. Then we get a glimpse of the chaos that is Apocrypha, the realm of Hermaeus Mora himself. Is he watching over the Arcanist? Is that why we saw a glimpse of his realm? The Arcanist faces off with her enemy, and though she put up a good fight, she ultimately finds herself outnumbered and on the verge of defeat when out of nowhere, Hermaeus Mora sucks her down into his realm. It appears he was watching out for her after all. Finally, it ends with the Arcanist walking up to Hermaeus for instruction. Hermaeus seems to be on our side in this expansion, but it hasn't yet been revealed who we'll be facing off against. Now, here's the trailer one more time without me rambling over it. It looks like this expansion is going to be one of the most substantial expansions in years, with massive new additions not only coming to Necrom, but also in the quarters to follow. All of this is happening now, 9 years into the game. It makes me wonder what ZOS has planned for the game's 10th year, next year. One thing's for sure, 2023 is a good year to be an ESO fan. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more MMO content. A massive shout out to my YouTube members for supporting the channel in the big way that they do. For only $5 a month, you can get behind the scenes footage, access to a private Discord channel, and my undying love. Thanks for watching, and if you're not sure what to do next, try watching one of the videos popping up on screen right now.